Going back to the growth figures, which of course at 9:30 we heard from the ONS that growth in the first quarter is up by 0.5%. Let's get a Scottish perspective on this from SNP leader Alex Salmond. Joins us from Glasgow. Good morning.
Good morning.
Is 0.5% good news?
Well, it's better than the decline of 0.5%, which was the figures for the UK in the fourth quarter, although we did slightly better in Scotland, but it still shows a very faltering recovery. And if you look into the detail of the figures, then one of the sectors in the UK which is doing particularly badly is construction, and I would make an appeal, actually a demand to the Chancellor of the Exchequer, get some capital investment into the economy, get the construction sector moving. That's what we've been trying to do in Scotland, and I would strongly advise the Chancellor of the Exchequer to follow that course across the UK as a whole, because you can't get an economic revival if you've got a depression in your construction sector.
And is it working in Scotland? Well,
it is working. I mean, our construction sector is up 14% over the last year. In the UK, it's actually down by 4%, and so there's a big difference, and the difference is we've accelerated capital investment projects. We refused to go forward with the cuts in them that the Tory coalition did across the UK last year. Now, what we need, of course, in Scotland is the economic powers, particularly borrowing powers, so as we can sustain that recovery, because, you know, whatever the argument is about revenue finance, most people, the vast majority of economic commentators, even people in business, would certainly argue that capital investment is vital for economic recovery. And the Chancellor of the Exchequer should now reverse this policy in capital investment, increase it, get the construction sector moving and assist economic recovery. Now, his defence, of course, is he says, well, look, we're doing the same thing as the Labour Party were doing when they were in government in terms of the cutbacks in capital spending. But the Labour Party were wrong to do so. Now is the time to increase in capital investment, get the construction sector moving and aid and assist what is, it has to be said from these figures, still a faltering economic recovery.
And yet, are you walking the talk? Because, I mean, the Scottish Parliament's Finance Committee was critical of some aspects of your budget, saying that your spending plans didn't back up your talk about making a priority growth, saying that you've chosen to protect public services rather than put the cash where it's needed in these terms that you've just been describing, higher education, housing and enterprise.
Well, you know, our outlook for, I mean, we have a constrained budget in Scotland because it's dictated by the Westminster Parliament. So there's a £1,300 million cut in the Scottish budget dictated by Westminster over the next year. And there's nothing we can do about that except get the economic powers that we require so as we can pursue a totally different course.
Well, I suppose the Finance Committee's point is that what you could do is put the money into areas where it's going to feed into growth.
Well, I was coming to that next. I mean, if you look at the higher education outlook in Scotland, it's far, far better than south of the border. I mean, we're not withdrawing the state from higher education, which is what's happening in Westminster. On the contrary, we're going to continue to support higher education. We've got 25,000 modern apprentices in Scotland this year, and for every year if we're re-elected for the next 5 years, that's 60% more than when the Labour Party were in government in Scotland. So we are driving this forward. But on the question of whether we're walking the walk in construction, you know, the facts speak for themselves. The facts are chiels at Wanny Ding, as we say in Scotland. Our construction sector, because of the decisions that we have taken, is up by 14% over the year. The UK construction sector, because of the decisions the Chancellor hasn't taken, is down by 4%. Now, I do believe that whatever else the arguments are in politics, that capital investment in public projects is absolutely essential to lead an economy out of recession, and it's high time the Chancellor of the Exchequer realised that, change course and change now.
Alex Salmond, thank you for joining us.
A great pleasure, thank you.